There we go. Carly, you are the first person I see. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear and see me okay? Okay, perfect. I just like to double check that just in case I'm not talking to myself for 5 minutes and then somebody finally tells me. All right, I am recording. I'm good. Okay, awesome. We have 30 people on here. This is phenomenal. I wasn't sure how many people were going to get on here, so 30 is awesome. So thank you for dedicating your, what is it today, Monday? Lose track of my days. Your Monday night to this. Maximum will be an hour. We might be shorter, who knows, but I always cut it off at an hour. I want to honor your time too. So that's why it's important for me to start on time and end on time as well, because I know you guys have other things to do too. So welcome to the call. I know some of you are upline coaches on here, but most of you are brand new coaches. And I just kind of wanted to first explain about what this Shine group is, what these calls are for, why I decided to do it. So basically, in January, I kind of dove into some of the leaders on our team. We ran a leadership training, and I kind of dove into them to help them get started right in January. And then I thought, you know what, for February, I have never done kind of a really in-depth group with new coaches. We've got the new coach training, we've got some Emerald training calls, but that was kind of it. The Zoom calls were sort of reserved for, if you guys have ever heard of the Diamond Date Nights that we have on our team. So myself and all the diamonds on our team get together every Tuesday night, and we actually have Zoom calls like this, but they're basically just interactive. Everybody talks, everybody shares ideas. So that's those Zoom calls, and then our once a month new coach calls, team calls. But for new coaches, it's kind of like do your new coach training, get involved in that, and then you're good to go, right? So I'm like, screw it. No, we're doing something different this month. I want to pour into these new coaches because that's what matters. Helping you guys get started right is my favorite part of this business. And if you don't know, I am a teacher. So this is why it's my favorite. I love teaching people. I love simplifying things. I like trying things the hard way and doing all the research and then simplifying it and presenting it to new coaches so they can succeed even faster than I did, right? So that's basically why I created this group, a safe place for new coaches to ask questions, share resources, and then having these bi-weekly calls. I just think it's important to see people's faces. Like, I'm in my PJs right now. Good thing you cannot see my bottoms, right? Because I just got some shorts on with a blanket wrapped around myself, right? I'm going to go watch some Netflix after this because my sister got me into this show called The 100, and it's crazy. So I'm watching that right now, and I am the most real person ever. Like, this is my little office, if you can see. I never used to have an office. I lived with my parents when I started, so I worked at their kitchen table. They thought I was crazy. If any of your parents think you're crazy or your relatives think you're crazy, it's normal. So now I kind of have an office, so it's really nice. But it's good to see your guys' faces jumping on these calls, and I kind of want the calls to run like this. I don't really want to talk the whole time because that's not the point of all this. I want it to be interactive. I want this to kind of be like a Q&A. So each call will have a broad overall topic that we can kind of gauge our thoughts around that topic. But other than that, it's kind of going to be like an open Q&A. So it's going to involve you guys too. I'm not going to just sit here and stare at the screen. So once I stop talking, we'll get it rolling with some questions, with some ideas. Basically, anything goes. If you have found something really works for you and you just want to share that, heck, I got my notepad ready. I'll take notes. I'll probably learn more from you guys than you'll learn from me in this call. I learn from all of our coaches because everybody does things differently, right? Any questions you've come into, that's what these calls are for, okay? So I am going to stop talking. So how this Zoom call works, if some of you are new to it, I am going to give you the power to unmute yourself. right away here. It's going to get loud for 1 second and then I'll mute you all again. But you can actually unmute yourself on your computer. It's in the bottom left. If you're on your phone, I'm really not sure. And you can actually, you can ask any kind of question you want. If you can't find the unmute button, there's a little chat option in here as well that you can use the chat and ask too. So give me 1 second. Okay, now you all have the power to unmute yourself. So our big broad topic for tonight was basically this. I explained, okay, mute yourself though, make sure you mute yourself if you're not talking. Otherwise we get lots of bad feedback. The broad topic for tonight basically was, okay, I'm gonna explain how this worked, which I did. And then now I kind of want to talk about setting the foundation. How, when you're becoming a new coach, what are the certain things you should be focusing on? Because you're presented with like all these awesome things, right? You've got like a new coach training, a challenge group, and then you're like, oh, I like her blog. I want a blog. Or dang, how do I make a YouTube channel? You're like, oh my gosh, I need to quit my job. I need so much time to do Beachbody. And you've got all these ideas going on, which are so great. But often I see some coaches get so overwhelmed, they just shut down and they don't get anything done, not even the basics, right? So that's what I wanted to cover in this call. And I narrowed my points down. What I would say building a strong foundation is to 3 things. And I would say this. Number 1 is a new coach training. Okay, that looks different for everybody. You talk to your sponsor coach that signed you up. What's my new coach training look like? They've probably told you already. If you've seen my blog, that's mine. I used to run it in a Facebook challenge group. So some people might still do that. So number 1, new coach training, whatever it is. Number 2, you got to get in a challenge group so you can add challengers in there. That's your second focus. And then number 3 is get a checklist. What I mean by that is when you sit down to do your Beachbody work, what are you doing? Do you have a checklist to follow? Because I promise you this happens to so many people. They hop on their computer, they're like, I'm ready to go. Shit, what do I do? I'm just gonna scroll through my Facebook feed and get some ideas. And then an hour goes by and you know everything that happened in everybody else's life, but nothing has happened in your business, right? So I promise you, it'll save you so much time if you get a checklist and keep it beside you and be like, boom, 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 boom. You can be done in 45 minutes, an hour, done. I've grown my business for the day, right? So in terms of checklists, my tip for Tuesday, as you'll see in our team page, is actually going to be about checklists. I don't care what checklist you use. You can use what's called the business activity tracker created by Beachbody. Okay. You can use a tracker that's on my new coach training website. You can create your own, right? I don't care. As long as you're following something so that you don't get caught up in all the fluff that doesn't grow your business. And I would say that's kind of what makes the difference between a coach that really takes off in their business and a coach that doesn't is, okay, this coach is focused on the things that actually grow their business. Fancy graphics and a blog when you start out aren't going to grow your business. I'm sorry. Okay. Those things can happen when you got the time, but those kind of things aren't what's going to grow your business. So new coach training, challenge group with your own challengers, and then a tracker, and keeping it simple, keeping it really, really, really simple. This business is pretty simple when you break it down. It's just making sure you keep your blinders on and keeping that focus where it needs to be, and a tracker really helps you do that, okay? So we're gonna kind of focus around that topic, the base for building a strong foundation as a new coach. So now I'm gonna open it up to Q&A, okay? What you would do, you'd unmute yourself and ask the question, maybe introduce yourself first. What's your name, where you're from, how long have you been a coach? And then kind of your question or comment, whatever you want, okay? So, all the power to you. Who wants to go first? Somebody go first and don't make me sit here like a loser. Okay.
Hey Morgan, my name's Caitlin, everybody. I'm from Delray Beach, Florida. I'm sorry for everyone who's stuck in the cold. It's only like 75 degrees here. So my question is, one thing that I am worried about is, with Beachbody, they always say with social media, you want to try to post like 3 to 5 times a day. And I am someone who habitually like barely ever post anything. I mean, since doing my first challenge group, I've gotten in the habit of posting more. But, what are some tips that, you have or that you've seen people do to try to like incorporate that more into their everyday life? Because I'm sure a lot of us are working full time. You were a first year teacher. So I'm sure, getting those posts in some days were harder than others. So what are some tips you have for that?
Awesome question. Yes, and that's a super common one. So I know some of you probably seen the chart that I posted in the team page that Becca Robinson created with some posting ideas, but that only kind of gave you one per day. So I struggled with this in the beginning too, because when I signed up to be a coach, I don't think I posted on Facebook like since a year before that. I never really used social media. I was anti-social media, you could say. So I was like, yeah, what am I going to post about? So I was super busy, first year teacher, and I don't know about you guys, but they weren't like keen on us taking selfies at work or anything. So I kind of viewed it like this. I'm like, okay, I kind of looked at my day when I could fit posts in. So that was usually in the morning time, sometime in the morning, whether I was doing personal development, whatever. It was usually a quote from that. I usually did a lunchtime post. Anything that came to me, and then I do a post usually after work and in the evening. So those, any free time. And this is what I usually tell people: don't overthink it. My posts, I know some people pre-plan their posts, and sometimes I do that if it's like a coaching post or something that I'm really putting a lot of thought into. But other than that, it is my daily life. Like I'm posting about something I would do anyways. I'm just taking the extra 5 minutes to take a photo of it and explain it on social media, basically. And even if I don't have time to explain it right then, I'll take a picture of it so I can post it later. So I'd say it like this: don't change your life to get these posts in. Make the post about your life. People, like, if you're super busy and you're like meal prepping and you only have 10 minutes to meal prep or make a meal, basically share that. Other people can relate to that. They're like, oh shit, I don't have that much time either. If she can do it, I can do it too. Like, I would post pictures of myself on the bus going to volleyball tournaments that I was coaching with my little like lunch kit, or like simple things like that it's just your real life. The more I would say, don't try and hide the busyness in your life. Just post, this is you, this is daily you, and this is what you get, right? I'd highly recommend just be as much of yourself in your life as possible.
Can I go off of that?
Yeah.
So I've been a coach for about 4 months now, and so I had same thing. Like, I never posted. I posted my pictures once every season, kind of thing, and that was it. So it's kind of tough for me to start my posting, but I try to incorporate in the mornings before I go to work. I work at a school, so in the mornings I try and do a post. It's either like my Shakeology and how it makes me feel, or what flavor I'm having that day, or a motivational quote, or a workout I did, or a combination of a quote and my workout. And then I post usually around supper time, and then in the evening around 8 or 9 usually. And same thing, like I don't post like Beachbody, 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 because people get so sick of that. And right, that's not me, and that's not what I want to brand for people. So I made like a list of things I'd maybe post about, because sometimes I'm like, oh, well, I haven't posted it. What am I going to post today? So I made like a big list, and sometimes I go over it if it's like outside, like appreciating the sunset or the sunrise, or just how beautiful it is, or playing with my dog, or a cheat meal I did. Like, people want to know that you're real, and that, like, even though you're a coach, you can not be perfect all the time, I guess. So I just kind of made a list of hobbies I have. I've taken up pottery, so I posted about that. I was really excited one day, and then after, it was awful. I was so frustrated, so I posted that afterwards. I didn't plan on it, but it was so bad I had to tell everybody. So just kind of incorporating, I guess, like your daily interests and things that happen along the way.
Yeah, that's awesome, Kirsten. I love you following your posts too. And Rachel just commented, can you unmute yourself? I've never asked you. Do you prefer Rachel or Rochelle?
I go by Rochelle.
Okay, that's what I thought. But when I was reading, I'm like, shoot, I've never actually asked her, but I always say Rochelle.
Yeah. When I'm posting, like before I go to bed at night, I'll like think to what I'm gonna do the next day and kind of like write out ideas for what I could post. So like say if I have like last night I put fake tanner on and I was gonna post about how awesome it looked, but then it all got botched out and splotchy. I had to change my post to that. And I like when you like post funny things, I notice I get lots more feedback because I'm keeping it real and it's not like all about the business and all of that stuff.
Totally. Your posts are very unique. I love them.
Yeah.
Awesome. I hope that helps, Caitlin. Perfect.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome. Anybody else have a question off of that or something on a different topic?
Hi,
Hey.
I'm Heather. I've been a coach for almost 3 months now, and I have a question for you. So you were talking about business tracker.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you do a business tracker, like what do you have on that? Like what kind of steps do you like to go through to make sure you get done on your list?
Absolutely. You know what? I'm just going to flip my screen for a second, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So I'll show you it. I haven't posted it yet. So I was drafting up my tip for Tuesday to post in my team page, and this is the exact topic. It was tracking.
Oh, perfect.
So I actually put together kind of 3 resources that I was going to share. So I'll show you the first one here. This is a tracker that I used for a long time. It's made by Beachbody. It's called the Business Activity Tracker. And I think it's really good. It basically has the same stuff you'll see on my other trackers. I just personally didn't really like the way it was set up. There was like too much stuff going on for me. But this is a really good place to start. Essentially, the points are the same on any tracker. So even if you wanted to design your own, these are still great points to go off of. Okay.
Okay, cool.
And then I will show you the next one. This is kind of the one I developed for some of my new coaches because it's really simple. And it's this one. Essentially, I just took those points off of that business activity tracker, boom, put them on here, and just simplified it a little bit. So this is another one that I shared. This is on my new coach training website. That one's really easy. If you scroll down, I've got some other checklists too. But I personally didn't start with a checklist. I actually started with this list here. I'll show you. And I got this from a YouTube video I watched of Scotty Hobbs. If you type in Scotty Hobbs daily life, it comes up with a video, and it's his 10 things he does for his Beachbody business every day. And that's basically where I pulled this list from. And this list hangs in my office. So for myself, this is kind of what I liked following. So personal development, I did a key takeaway post. I headed into my online office and did some checks in there. And then my Facebook time. So I did some deposits of kindness, which were basically just commenting on people's pages. 3 people. I'd friend request some people. I'd go through my groups, return messages, send follow-up messages, and then any extra work. So this was kind of the list I really liked to work on, and I got it from his video. So as you can see, kind of it's the same trend of things you'll do each day. It just depends what kind of tracker you like to use. Some people like it online. Some people like it on a piece of paper. Just depends.
Okay, thanks, Morgan.
You're welcome. I hope that helps. I know tracking is kind of lots of people are like, but I kind of am like, I just want to get the most bang for my buck in the littlest amount of time I can. So I need to follow a tracker so I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, totally. Sometimes you find yourself floundering and it's like, okay, now what should I be doing? So that'll
Yeah.
really help.
Awesome. What else we got, ladies? Let's keep it moving.
Hello.
Hey,
I just realized I guess my name isn't on my
it
screen.
says admin.
This is my first time using this, so I just said accept, and that's what happened. So my name is Brandy.
Brandy, perfect.
I live in Calgary, in Alberta, in Canada. And this is my, I think, second week as a coach.
Awesome.
And I kind of feel the same way as there's so many things to be doing and not enough time in the day to do it. And where do you start, I guess? And I think the tracker would be the best. I actually looked at the online Beachbody tracker that was provided. So the first one that you just showed us. And there is just way too many things going on. I guess visually it just doesn't work for me. So the other two, the one that you made and then the one that you got from the gentleman you mentioned, where would we find those as something to start using?
Oh, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So the one I posted that was kind of pink and pretty is on my team training website. So the address is, and I can post this in our Shine group too, but it's morgansteamtraining.blogspot.ca. And I've got a little section called checklists. And then I'll just give you the name of Scotty Hobbs' YouTube video. Scotty Hobbs. It is called The 10 Things I Do Every Day for My Beachbody Business. If you type that into YouTube, The 10 Things I Do Every Day for My Beachbody Business. That video, I think I watched it in like my first month of coaching. And that was the video that finally like made it click for me. Like, okay, I can do this in a day. So I think that, and he really walks you through it well. So that video was the one that helped me. So I think it'll help break it down for you as well.
Okay, that's great. Thanks.
You're welcome. That was an easy question. Whoa, we're up to 39 people on here. This is awesome. What other questions we got?
I have a question, Morg.
Okay. How long have you been a coach, Sarah?
A couple of years now. It's always good to go back to the basics though and join these calls because I find that's the thing that you usually stop doing is the little things, or you kind of get, like for me personally, you just forget about how basic and how important these little things are. So, but I have a question. What do you recommend for a coach or a challenger, someone who does not feel like they want to post on Facebook? That's not how they want to approach coaching. And I know everyone can do it differently and there's a bunch of different ways, but she wants to be more hands-on. She wants to meet with people, which I've kind of explained that's limiting for when you think about in the future. Like there's only so many people that you can physically meet and work with at the same time. But she just feels that doing this through Facebook she's found it annoying. And so she wants to do it another way, but I don't really know how to connect the coaching information to that since a lot of it is through Facebook.
Right. So she personally doesn't mind being involved in Facebook. She just doesn't want to post necessarily, or she just doesn't really like to be involved in Facebook.
She's on Facebook, not very much, but I think for her to run her business, she doesn't want to do it through Facebook.
Right. I would probably, I'd probably say basically what you said, express how you've how you've essentially seen success in your business. And that's been a lot on Facebook, and same with myself, just because the opportunity is so big, your numbers are endless. But secondhand, I would, as long as you explain that to her, I would support her how she wants to run it personally. You're her mentor. You're not necessarily, make or break her success, right? She's got to kind of roll with it how she enjoys it. I would maybe just help her out as much as you can through the way she wants to do it. You know, if she wants to just email with people, email with you, if she prefers that, you can give her access to my training website, which is off of Facebook if she wants. I would support her how she wants to do it for sure. It's her business, and I mean, I think she will be limited. It'll grow probably a bit slower, but somebody's just unmuted. But yeah, I would just roll with it how she feels comfortable, I guess, for now, but definitely express to her the success you've seen in doing it through social media.
Do you have anyone that is doing it not on Facebook? Maybe doing it a different way?
Oh, lots of mine are, and I guess maybe not necessarily Facebook, but other, like maybe through more Instagram, that kind of thing. But just because all of our groups are on Facebook, it just makes it that much easier. It's just like the easiest platform to get everybody in, you know, just like our Shine group. It's like, hey, I'm running this training, get in here. I'll give you the Zoom link. Like, it's just so easy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Katie.
Okay, so I know it hasn't been released yet, but I know that they were talking about doing the app for afterwards, so that you can run all your challenge groups on a phone, so people who don't want to do it on Facebook still has all the interactions. So I think they said that's supposed to come out here in this first quarter.
Yes, you're totally right, Katie. I forgot about that. So that will be another option as well, bringing it off Facebook that way. Awesome. Thank you, Katie. Forgot about that one. And that girl may came around too, Sarah. I'm not sure who you're talking about, but maybe our Diamonds group might have some more ideas in that too. Sarah's one of my diamond coaches, if you're wondering. She's also Steven's sister. All right. What else we got, ladies? New coaches starting off. When you signed up this past month, what are some things that have come across your mind that you're just not sure about, a little stressed about, would like to know how I do things?
I guess I have one question, and it's going to be kind of a one-off. I had a guy who approached me about kind of using Shakeology, but using it to increase his weight, because he's not supposed to be doing any workout programs yet until he reaches a certain weight limit, because he's been struggling with it. And his nutritionist said, hey, maybe you should find somebody who does Beachbody and sells Shakeology. But other than doing the recipe boosting, I'm not too sure how to advise him on those type of things, where there's no real training for somebody who wants to gain weight with it versus lose weight.
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. And this is a really good topic too. You might come across stuff like this, or I had another coach recently asking me about like a calcium deficiency, or questions that you don't know the answer to and you shouldn't know the answer to, just like that gaining weight question. And probably the way I would answer him, and the way I'd answer many of those questions is, you know, like, I am by no means a dietitian. From my experience, Shakeology can be a meal replacement. You know, I make it with a recipe. It gives me, you know, like, it's like my daily multivitamin. It will definitely help your nutrition and your energy. To say it'll make you gain weight, I can't really say that, because that depends on your calorie intake. But I do know that it'll make you feel a lot healthier. And from there, you can talk to your doctor about increasing your calories and stuff, because, you know, that's not your place necessarily, and you shouldn't know that kind of stuff, right? You can only speak from your personal experience. So same with like my calcium deficiency person. I said, you know what, like, I don't necessarily know. I don't know if you're deficient in calcium or not. Like, that's something you'll want to get checked out yourself, but Shakeology will blah, 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 right? So just your personal experience.
Okay, because yeah, like, it was weird, because when he messaged me, he's like, my nutritionist said to do this. So I was like, well, I don't know, like, other than to tell them, hey, this is the information that's out there. This is what you can read through. And if she agrees with it 100%, I'm here for you, but I don't know.
Yeah, totally. And I would just add on to that, like, Shakeology is not a weight gainer per se, right? Gaining weight will come from adjusting your calories. So I can't tell you this is going to solve that issue for you in terms of weight gain. Like, you'd have to adjust your diet for sure. Yeah. I'm just looking who's all on here. Oh, hey, Miranda. Hey, Summer. We got a second page. Okay, we got a question on the chat. It is, I don't feel comfortable adding people on Facebook and then just bringing up Beachbody with them. What's good ways to go about it? Awesome question. So how do you add people and then just randomly bring up Facebook, bring up Beachbody to them? Okay, before I dive in, does anybody have kind of a flow that they do that they find is working?
I do, Morgan.
I was looking right at you, Kelsey.
Okay, so what I do is I kind of have a system. So when I'm adding people on Facebook, I don't just like add random people, even though like they are random, because I'm not friends with them. But I have kind of 5 points. So if they have to be able to connect with me. There's no use me trying to reach out to someone that has nothing in common with me. They're not going to feel like they can connect with me, and they're most likely not going to join me in a support group right away if they can't relate to me. So I kind of look for 5 things. First of all, if they have a dog in their picture, I am all over that. Right away, we're going to be best friends. So I look for a dog. I look for new moms. I am a newlywed, so we've been talking family, so I know I can connect with them. I look for people that are recently married or engaged. I look for people that are teachers, just because we have that in common. And then I look for people that are really family orientated or like to travel. So I kind of look for those 5 things, and I do them quickly. Like if I can see it in their description, or if I can see in their profile picture, or in just like one scroll in their Facebook, I'll add them. So I do this really quickly. And then I do 2 different things. Sometimes like Team Cup Month, I will start reaching out to them pretty quick by direct messaging them and just making a connection based on one of those reasons why I added them in the first place, that one thing that connected us. And I start a conversation around that first. Sometimes what I do is I just start liking and commenting on the things that they post about that we relate to. And then that way I get that conversation going, so it's not as awkward for them and for me to start up a conversation. So I usually will give it a couple days of liking or commenting on things. And then what I do is usually, like, when you start up a conversation, like it's usually about dogs and kids. And then I usually will ask them, like, hey, like, what do you do? Where are you from? And the natural response is to ask then me, like, what do I do, right? So then I usually will say, like, I'm a health and wellness coach, and I'm also a substitute teacher. And then we kind of go from there. And they usually will ask me, like, what's a wellness coach? And then I kind of tell them, like, what I do, and then I use Beachbody, and we go from there. And then I always tell them, like, if the conversation's going that way and it's flowing, I'll let them know that they're welcome to join me anytime. And then if they're kind of seeming a little bit off, I'll kind of tie back to why we were talking in the first place and really make sure we have that relationship. And then in a couple days, I'll message them again and just say, like, hey, like, you know what, I know we talked about last day, but I just wanted to make sure that you don't have any questions, or I can help you in any way. And then I'll offer for them to join me in a free group or something like that. But I really, really focus on building that friendship and relationship first, because I want them to go into the challenge group, if they join, with confidence, and that they can trust me and that they can relate to me. So if they are having a problem with their program, or that they're feeling not confident, they feel like they can reach out to me. So that's kind of my flow. It depends. I'm a little bit more direct with like reaching out to people right away. when it's like team cup and stuff like that. But generally I give it a couple days where I like interact with them through their Facebook and then start a conversation. So it's not as like in their face. But I also have done it the other way, where right away I send them a message and like say thanks for accepting me and explain who I am. But I have found for myself it works better if I engage with them in content first and then message them. So that's what I do.
That is awesome, Kels. And Kels is one of the star diamonds on our team as well. So see, all these leaders are joining our new coach call too, because they like to learn. And I kind of do a similar flow as Kelsey, but I will say this, Kelsey's a little more extroverted than I am. I'm a little more introverted. So messaging people was really nerve-wracking for me. It still is. So when I signed up to be a coach, I'm like, okay, if me like specifically messaging people stresses me out, then I need to do everything in my power to attract people to me so that I have less people that I need to reach out to personally. So I was like, dang it. So that is when I started to get comfortable posting and opening up and sharing my life, because that was the only way people could get to know me and trust me without me messaging them specifically. So yes, I still do both, but because I wanted to do less direct messaging, I needed to gain their trust a different way. And what that took was me being open, honest as much as I could on my Facebook, so that you know those people. Just think about who you follow on Instagram and Facebook. Why do you follow them? Because you feel like you're almost like part of their life. You're like, oh, they're going to Disney today. Did you see what they bought? Those shoes, you know, like whatever it may be. You're like involved in their life. So I just thought, okay, I need to make my page like one of those pages that I go to that I check each day. I'm like, oh, I wonder what Susie's doing today. And you know what I mean? So that's kind of also how I viewed it too, because I wasn't the type of person that wanted to go out there as much directly. So I wanted to attract people to me. I hope that helps a bit. And a good idea, like Kelsey said, if you don't want to look for people, jump on some Facebook groups. If you're a mom, check out some new mom groups. If you're into certain types of dogs, check out like that dog group. I don't know, any kind of groups that you guys have something immediately in common. Get involved in that group. And it's not weird if you friend request them. You're in the same group together and you're involved, right? So that is another idea too.
I have a question for Kelsey.
Yeah.
You said that like you look for those things that you might have in common with them. And then when you send your initial message, are you sending it like, hey, like, do you just go right into, hey, I added you and I really like your dog or whatever? Or is it like, hey, like, I know this is kind of random, but I saw a picture of your dog and I just thought like we'd be friends? Or like, I don't really know. Like when I add people, I always send them like virtually the same message of like why it's a really random ad. And I appreciate like that they accepted it and that I'm a health and wellness coach and I go on a little bit about that, but not too long. So I never thought of doing it like that, but I just don't know how exactly not to make it awkward, I guess.
Okay, good question. I have tried this 1,000 different ways. Like you, when I first started, I did the initial like thanks for that, and I do sometimes still, but I just have found that doesn't work for me as well. So it depends. So if I've been following the person for a while and I've like commented on a lot of their stuff and they've actually interacted with me on their post, then when I message them as if we're like already best friends. So we've already talked on their post, and I'll just message them and be like, hey, like your picture today was awesome. I absolutely love that you shared that. And I'll sometimes even like, if it's like someone with their dog, I'll send them a picture of me with my dog and like just be kind of like silly and be myself. If we've never interacted at all, like I've liked their stuff or commented and they've never interacted back, I'll kind of take it a little bit more easy, and I'll kind of introduce myself, be like, hey, I know that we don't really know each other, but I just wanted to say, like, I really love following you. I really love your post. Today when you posted, it really just kind of made me smile or laugh or whatever it might be. And I just really like that you shared that. And honestly, from there, the conversation usually just goes. And sometimes it doesn't like your business or whatever doesn't get brought up, and that's okay. I've made some really strong friendships from doing this, and I know that eventually down the line they'll probably end up joining me, but I've made some of my best friends that way. So it depends on the situation. So if we've interacted prior through Facebook posts, I kind of just dive in as if we're already friends and we've already broke that ice. But if we haven't, then I kind of introduce myself. And I've actually had situations where, like, months later on, someone, like the person I've been talking with, messages me and goes, so I actually have no idea how I even know you and how we even started talking, if that seems weird. And I'm like, no, it doesn't seem weird. I actually added you completely cold. Like, so, and they're like, oh, or I'll have coaches that, like, the other day we were doing training, we were talking about this stuff, and I said, they're like, you totally used that technique on me and it worked. I'm like, yeah, I did. But I'm like, I genuinely had something in common with you, and I actually cared about what you were doing and saying. So it wasn't like I was just like trying to like pluck you out, right? So make sure you're connecting with people you genuinely want to connect with and would be friends with, even if you weren't a Beachbody coach. Yeah. If that answers your question.
Yeah. That was an awesome add-on, Kels. It's just starting those connections, whether they're a coach now or a challenger now or a year down the road, right? Just think about how long you watched before you signed up as a coach. Some of you might have watched for one day and were like, bang, I'm in. Some of you might have thought about the decision and had to watch for a year, right? So it all just takes time.
I have a question.
Where am I looking?
Jordan, I don't know.
Jordan, okay, go. I'll find you talking.
So my name is Jordan. I've only been a coach for a couple months now. So I'm assuming when you guys are talking about adding people, it's like people that you don't have mutual friends with, or like does it show up on your list? Because like how I've been adding people is maybe just old people from high school that I've like lost contact with or whatever. But if you're going through Facebook and you're adding people that you really don't know and you're just basing it off of like things that you have in common, like how do you find these people? Like are you just going like through Facebook groups that you might be on? Like with I just don't know how to do that. That's a question I have.
That's a great question. That is probably a simple step that we did not cover. Okay, before I dive into, does anybody else have a flow that they do that with on this call? Miranda's shaking her head. She's gonna unmute herself.
Hi, I'm Miranda. I'm really sick, so please, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. I'm a little sick, so my voice is a little cracky. At first when I started adding people, it was super uncomfortable, but they have this little thing. If you go into your friends list, there's like a little cross and it's like find friends, and you click it and it has like people that like the same things as you or know people that you would know. And I like click them and I'll like look through to see if we have things in common, like Kelsey was talking about, and then I'll just add them. And I do like 3 to 5 people a day because I am so scared of getting blocked out of Facebook. And then I'll go through, like once a week, I'll go through the people that I've added and I'll see who my new friends are. And then I'll start like making little deposits with them every day. And usually conversations start. I've actually met lots of really great people that way. So I hope that answers your question.
She's giving you the thumbs up. Awesome. I actually didn't know about that button, so I'm just going to jot that down on my notes. Oh, boy.
The other thing I sometimes do, because I've only been a coach for a month and a half now, and my coach, Vanna, told me that sometimes if you just go into your search bar and you can maybe start on a Monday with the letter A, so if you pick one name, there's a good chance that there'll be 100 people with that name that'll come up, and most of them will come up with mutual friends or people who you like, so you can just kind of go A's one day, B's, and kind of go that way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's an awesome idea. And I love how, like, you'll notice from what Miranda said and what Kel said and stuff too, you know, it is a little bit nerve-wracking to do this at the start, but then you think about it, you're like, no, like I genuinely want to help people. Like, if this can do this for me, like, that's what I think when I go into conversations. I'm like, okay, does this person deserve to feel how Beachbody's made me feel? And if I say no, then I'm like, okay, screw them. I'm not talking to them. But for most people, I'm like, yeah, heck yes. And if they decide it's not for them, that's totally cool. Just like at a restaurant, if you don't want dessert, you tell the waiter no, and they're not like, whoa, you said no to me, right? It's not a big deal. And you're building relationships. Honest to God, 99% of my friends right now are people I met through Beachbody, and they're some of the best people I've ever met because we've got kind of the same vibe. We want to be better. We want, you know, fitness and health, it's part of our life. We talk about books and personal development and maybe going to a conference together. And it's finally like, dang, like these people get me, right? So looking for more people like that there's nothing wrong with that. If it's for them, great. If it's not, it's no big deal. All right, let's do one more question.
I have a question.
I'm trying to find you.
Hi.
Oh, there you are. Yeah, Kelly, hey.
I'm Kaylee, and I've been a coach for almost a year now, and I have no problem, for the most part, finding people to join my challenge groups, but I'm struggling to go to the next step where I can attract business coaches and people to join me as coaches. Do you have any tips?
Yeah, you bet. So, girlfriend, I'm with you. If you talk to my upline coach, she will tell you I could sell a challenge pack, no problem, but I could not sign up a coach because I didn't know how and I didn't want to do it. So this is kind of what I sort of do. And we can talk about this more in the Shine group. I can even give you some of the scripts that I say just to give you some ideas to start with. But the first thing that made the biggest difference for me was I attracted exactly what I posted. So I got a couple of success partners of mine to look at my timeline, and they said, Morgan, all you post about is working out and challenge groups. Nobody probably even knows they can be a coach. So yeah, I could sign up tons of challengers because that's all I was sharing. So when I finally transitioned my posts into sharing more about that and what coaching's done for me, I automatically started to attract more coaches. So that was the biggest game changer. And then obviously like talking to challengers about coaching and stuff. In my challenge groups, lots of my posts are more related to coaching, but I can maybe make a checklist of different things I do and post it in our Shine group. And some of the other leaders can do that too. But I will tell you that was the number one thing was my posting.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I did go through my own posts the other day, and I think I'm not sharing that people can be coaches too. So I guess that's something I should look at.
Mm-hmm. And it can be tons of little stuff, what coaching's done for you, just like what challenge groups have done for you. Yeah. And I just made myself.
Yeah, honestly, I like, when I think about it, I think because I don't really know what to do when I sign up a coach. Like, I mean, I know you lay it out on your blog and your training website, like what, there's a checklist when you sign someone up, but I feel like there's probably something inside of me that's holding me back a little bit because I don't really know where to go, if that makes sense.
Oh, totally. It's like, yeah, you know how to sign up a challenger, you sign them up and you get them in a challenge group and you're like, boom. But you sign up a coach and you're like, what do I do with this coach, right?
Yeah.
So I actually that's funny, that's on my to-do list in my day planner, make video about how to sign up a coach with confidence.
Yeah.
That's a great question. so those two things, I'm actually going to, I'll help you build some resources around that and share that in our Shine group over the next week here, because I think that's a really common concern that I had and that a lot of people have about signing up a coach is the confidence to now help them succeed too, right?
Right. Like it's kind of like they're your responsibility too. Like you don't want to just leave them. Like I don't know, challengers, I think I got it down pat, but coaching is kind of a big step and I want to be able to help them right.
Yep. Absolutely. And really, I'll tell you, I mean, we'll get these resources going. I'm not going to dive into it because I probably talk about it for an hour. But I'll tell you this, there's no right or wrong way. If some of my very first coaches, like I think she was my maybe third coach was Virginia Chell. If you know who that is.
Yeah.
She's doing mighty fine. And if she explained to you what I did to her as a new coach or did not do, like she's like, Morgs, you were like all over the place. Like, I don't know. And I told her, I'm like, I don't know why you signed up with me. She's like, I don't know either, because I didn't know what I was doing. She didn't know what she was doing. But yeah, so, and I mean, it's okay. There's no right or wrong way. Essentially, I think about it like this. Any coach, even without a sponsor coach, is going to be successful if they want to, because all the information is either on Google, on YouTube, in the Beachbody online office. My coaches would probably be successful even if they didn't have me, because they just made the decision to be successful. They're going to find out the information with or without me. I just put it in a pretty little package, basically, right? Just because I'm like that. But so just know there's no right or wrong way. People, the information's there. Your support and the heart you put into them is really what matters. But yes, we will dive into more resources though that help you with that.
Okay, thanks.
That's an awesome question. I'm glad you mentioned that. So I'm going to kind of wrap it up here, ladies. The one thing I forgot to mention at the start, sorry, gentlemen, if there's any gentlemen on here, I think it's mostly ladies. The one thing I forgot to mention is what I had said, a communication training will also take place in this Shine group. So it's actually a training I've ran in the past, and it was daily posts. But since we're doing this big Shine group for a month together, you'll see that I did one post already with the communication training with the video from Lindsay Matway. It's as a file. So if you go to the files section of our group, it's in there. Even if you go through the newsfeed, you'll see people have commented on it already. I'm going to post the daily trainings for the communication training in files like that. So I'm thinking maybe like every second day. So I've posted that one already. And you can probably expect one every second day. Just tips and tricks to have conversations, basically. You can pull out whatever tips and tricks you gain from it, different ways to word things or ideas from that. And then we'll do these calls bi-weekly. So our next one, I have no idea what the date is, but it won't be next week. It'll be the week after. And I've got our topic down in our Shine group. And please use the group to its full potential. When you have questions, that's the place to go, okay? Because if you're wondering it, somebody else is. And it's good for everybody to see that question. That's why when I sign up new coaches, it's okay if they personally message me, but I have my new coaches like in a little group or a message thread sometimes. I'm like, hey, post your question in there, because if you're wondering it, somebody else probably is too. And instead of having 5 people ask me the same question, we can just all be in a group together and kind of feed off each other that way. So use the group, ask questions. If you find some resources, share them with the group. If a conversation worked for you, share it with the group, okay? This whole month is for you guys, for new coaches to really dive in and have the freedom to ask whatever you want and try new things. And know that there's no wrong way. There's no way you're going to fail at this. If you word vomit on somebody, oh my gosh, you don't even know how many people I've word vomited on. Like, I did it to Virginia. I think I sent her like a 2-page thing about coaching and she still signed up. It happens. You learn, right? Like I'm 2.5 years in, and every month I change the way I do my conversations because I'm learning, right? Some things work, some things don't. So there's no way to fail. So just know that. And if you want a really good book, I know some of my leaders were reading it. It's called Failing Forward by John C. Maxwell. It's a really, really good book if failure is something you kind of struggle with too. It's one of my favorites, Failing Forward by John C. Maxwell. So we're almost at 8 o'clock Central Time, not for all of you. I know we got different time zones in here, but we're going to wrap up there. We can talk more in the group, and we'll jump on another Zoom call in about 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Not next week, the week after. So thank you again, guys, for taking this time out of your evening and asking questions and listening in. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you for joining this family too. This, as you can kind of see with some of my leaders on here, we're pretty close-knit. Having this support system is huge. That's one thing I didn't expect when I signed up to be a coach. I signed up to be a coach because I love fitness. I signed up to be a coach because I thought maybe I could build a business with this and leave teaching, which I didn't feel as strongly about. But never did I imagine, literally, some of my best girlfriends came from coaching. And we live in a tiny town, so we don't have tons of friends here, right? Like any. So getting on these Zoom calls to me is like going for coffee with my girlfriends, right? Like, this support system is huge, because I don't know about you guys, but finding people that are on the same wavelength of you is sometimes hard, right? Sometimes they're like, you don't need to work out, you look fine, or just eat that hamburger. It's like, no, you don't get me. So know that this is a community. Whether you run with this business or not, this is a family of supportive people that are here for you for whatever you need, okay? So thank you again, ladies, and have an awesome, awesome night. We'll see you later.